Welcome. On this session, we're going to talk about questions. When we talk about questions, we're going to look at the different type of questions. We're going to talk about how you frame those questions and where you bring those questions into your sales presentation. The different type of questions are open-ended questions, closed-ended questions, tie-down questions, inverted tie-down questions, and tag-on tie-down questions. The last three, the tie-down type of questions, are great questions to help tie down concerns and issues so that they don't get revisited during the sales presentation again. They are also perfect to work with trial closes so that you can move the prospect towards making a buying decision with you today. Now, everyone's familiar with open-ended questions, or most people are. An open-ended question requires more than a yes or no answer. And you use an open-ended question when you're looking to get more content out of the prospect. You want more detail. So you want to make sure you frame questions that don't require a yes or no answer. You know, how have you used your current plan in the last year? What feature have you received the most benefit from in your current plan? Those are two examples of open-ended questions. They require more than a yes or no answer. They give you some detail to work with. Words that indicate an open-ended questions are words like tell me, describe, how, explain, what, why. Remember, questions gather information and objections disclose information. So by learning how to ask questions that start with tell me, describe, how, explain, what, and why, it helps you gather information. And you need information in order to help the prospect uncover their dominant buying motive and figure out why they're going to close. Closed-end questions generally require a yes or no answer, or a one- or two-word response. Although, too many closed-end questions make the interaction seem like an interrogation, and nobody likes to be interrogated. Closed-end questions help break the ice and loosen up a resistant prospect. Words that indicate or initiate an open-ended question is, does, which, are, will. So which questions, the W8 questions, are the ones that are going to help you with this. Tie-down questions, on the other hand, are generally used at the end of a sentence. You normally already know the answer, and they're most commonly used to get agreements of small points. You ask them when you already know the answer to be yes, and it allows you to get and give acknowledgement from prospect that they understand and agree with solutions that are discussed. An example of a tie-down question is when you get older, do you get more healthy or less healthy? Someone says, well, you get less healthy. Is that what you were planning on? See how I say, is that what you were planning on? That kind of ties it down. I already know what they're going to say. Well, no, that's not what they're planning on. So tie-down questions are generally indicated by aren't you, wouldn't it, didn't it, couldn't you, isn't it, wasn't it, does it, isn't that right, and won't you? So what I would tell you to do is practice putting together tie-down questions using these words so that they become an integrated part of your sales personality. In other words, that's part of your mantra. And the more mantras you have, the more key phrases you have, the more questions you already have, it's an integrated part of your sales personality, the more you can listen to what the prospect is saying, not just what they said. You know, too many times salespeople are thinking about the next thing they're going to say, and they don't really listen to what the prospect meant. Another type of tie-down question is an inverted tie-down, and that's typically used at the beginning of a sentence. Isn't it nice to know that you're going to save enough money on here to pay for your lead program? Isn't it reassuring to have a plan that you don't have to worry about whether service calls are included? See how I use the isn't it nice to know, isn't it reassuring? That's an inverted tie-down. You use that at the beginning of the sentence. A tag-on tie-down is used every time the prospect says something that indicates a buying motive. So a prospect says, protecting my assets is important. The tie-down would be, isn't it? You tie it down to get a complete minor agreement, don't you? See how I use the tie-down, don't you? So the reason that you want to do this is because you want to close on a minor point. You don't want to close on major things, you want to close on a minor. So today we covered the different type of questions you can ask. You can click here for more trainings. You can click here to book your next training or get pricing on training or having me speak at your event. You can click here for articles or see videos outside the website. If you have a specific question, you can call 865-776-7632.